Thomas Smith was a Monroe County farmer who lived just southeast of Bloomington, and he was one of the people they call conductors on the Underground Railroad that would help to escort slaves, runaway slaves, through this area. A slave might have come from Salem, Indiana, from the south, and stopped in Bloomington by maybe riding in a wagon that was covered up, and they were hidden. They got to Bloomington. Thomas Smith or one of the other people locally would have helped that slave maybe stay overnight or stay a few days. They would give them food and shelter, perhaps even clothing, and they would work out the way to get the runaway slave to the next stop north, maybe in Martinsville or wherever that might be. He was a man from South Carolina who came to Monroe County as part of a church movement. The Reformed Presbyterians came from South Carolina and settled in this area. There were a number of families from that church that did that, including the Smiths, and they were very anti-slavery, the Reformed Presbyterians.
Thomas Smith had a boarding house for IU students who were mostly from Indiana. This shows he had many helpers to keep his secret safe.
I think that the Underground Railroad was very important because it gave an avenue or a way for the slaves in the United States before and during the Civil War to gain freedom by coming north. The Underground Railroad was the way or the process by which they were able to gain their freedom. At the time, there were laws against runaway slaves, laws that said they had to be returned to their owners. And the Underground Railroad was actually an illegal process to circumvent those laws and help the slaves gain their freedom, often by escorting them from let's say the Ohio River, all the way through Indiana, Wisconsin, or Michigan, all the way to Canada. And it was very important to these people, the slaves, that they had a way to escape their bondage. He also had a son, William, who was also a conductor on the Underground Railroad, and William is featured in at least one story, a very famous story of a slave who escaped the slave catchers in Bloomington County and was helped on his way to freedom in the north.
Thomas Smith helped repair the world by helping repair the lives of people who came to him in times of need. All of this led to the abolishing of slavery. If slavery hadn't been abolished, we wouldn't be where we are today. There would be no Obama as president, not as many rights for blacks, and might still have slaves today.
Okay. Hi, I'm Glenda Murray. I'm a volunteer and a board member with the Monroe County Historical Society, otherwise known as the History Center.
How did people involved in the Underground Railroad change history?
The people who were active in the Underground Railroad were doing something that was illegal, and so they knew it was really dangerous to do, but they believed very strongly that it was the right thing to do, and so they helped thousands of slaves escape from the South and make their way to the North or to Canada. And so for the families involved, they helped that many African Americans, and some of those folks became very famous later. Most did not, but most were able then to go on with their own lives as with families and friends.
Tony escaped from his slave owners and went to Samuel Gordon for help, but the Kershaws captured him and had a trial in which Thomas Smith and Samuel Gordon gained possession of the slave. Tony went to get his belongings, but the Kershaws told them Smith was going to take them down south. Tony couldn't help but to believe it, so he stayed with the Kershaws because they told him they would take him to Canada. This was the complete opposite of the truth, and Tony quick figured that out, and then again escaped to go to Canada in a hidden wagon with Smith and Gordon. Just to avoid the authority, he sent a decoy wagon so anybody else trying to catch Tony would be fooled and buy Tony time. This was just one of the many examples of Thomas Smith helping slaves to escape. Another major impact Thomas Smith had on Bloomington was making a large donation to the Indiana Seminary, which later became Indiana University. This was significant because most of the people that smuggled out slaves to Canada were students of the university.
In conclusion, Thomas Smith is a hero.
Although not around the country, he helped end the Civil War
and change the history of Bloomington.
He was an unsung hero we should honor.